I, 19 female, just recently moved out of my parents' house a week ago with my 3-year-old dog. For background, I found my girl when she was a puppy, right before she got washed down a storm drain on a super rainy day. She's a border collie mix. So anyway, with the money that I was saving for a car, I paid for her vet visits, gave her medications, and got her back to health. Then I trained her, thank goodness for online learning at the time, all the while being told by my parents that if she messed up even once, she was out of the house. Fast forward to the past year, and my parents have now started to pass her off to my little brother because he wants his own dog now, to the point where they tried to change her name. While he wants a dog, my brother's not mature enough for one. A week ago, he got upset because she went to the door and pressed the out button. I taught her how to press a button when she needed to walk, and he started to yell at her for it. I yelled at him and told him to back the heck off. Then my parents yelled at me, saying he was allowed to discipline his dog. I lost it, took her out, and then back into my room when we got home. Without telling them, I started looking at the cheapest places to get into and now live in my own apartment. It's not ideal, but it's cheap and a 30-minute bus ride to college and work. I made the move while they were at work, and now they're blowing up my phone, wanting to know where I live so my brother can get his dog, calling me an idiot for separating boy and dog. Am I the idiot? So you moved out without telling your family, and all they care about is to give your brat brother the dog back? Not the idiot. Obviously, you seem very reasonable, mature, and responsible. Good luck with the dog in your new life. Your family is awful. Why would you even ask that? Do you have receipts for all the vet bills you paid and a copy of the papers at the vet saying how you found the dog? This will be your proof of ownership. Are dogs licensed where you live? If so, and she was not licensed, do it yesterday. Tell your parents it's your dog, and you will not allow her to be mistreated and not to contact you again until they come to their senses. They sound like raving idiots. If they keep harassing you, block them. Make sure your landlord or whoever knows to keep everyone from entering your apartment. You should cover all bases. Yep, this is your dog. You trained her and spent the money on her. Don't respond to your parents or your brother about your dog. It doesn't pertain to them at all. Also, if you don't have her microchipped, definitely do that and put your name and details. If brother wants a dog so badly, there are thousands in shelters that need homes. Though, to be honest, I'm not sure I wish your family on any of them. Also, your brother's a brat, and your parents are enabling said brat. Sorry you have parents like this. How dare they? Go no contact with all of them. He's their golden child, and they want to give him everything. Hun, I'm very proud of you. You're amazing, and I hope you and your dog have a great journey together. And do not tell them where you live. Your parents, I want to shake them. You have a brain, guts, and a heart. I'm so very proud of you. OP, congrats on getting away from your idiot family. Do not tell them where you live. Block them on all social media, etc. Things are going to be so much better now. Stand your ground and keep setting boundaries, and get therapy or counseling if you can. Just reading between the lines here, but they're clearly messed up people, and it takes time to heal from growing up in that sort of environment. My 36 female, daughter Leah, 18, is a mom. My daughter got pregnant 5 years ago, and it was very shocking news, but we found out very early on and she got to end it. A few months later, she got pregnant again, and I couldn't handle the situation very well at the time. But having my sister, her aunt, talk to her about what she was planning to do, she decided to keep the baby, which I'll admit I wasn't very happy to hear, and I told her she'd have to be responsible about the consequences. Of course, as a mother, I couldn't have her work and distract her from school. I didn't want her to miss out on her childhood, so I had to work evening night shifts to care for my granddaughter while Leah was in school. Recently, I realized that Leah's been taking advantage of my situation and making me cancel plans so I can babysit for her. I overheard her making plans 2 weeks ahead on the phone with someone saying, "My mom will do it. She has no life anyways," and laughing afterward. Being a single mom and working multiple jobs was hard enough, but since she gave birth to her daughter, I haven't gone out to parties. I've canceled many weekend gatherings so that my daughter can hang out with her friends. And if I did go, I'd always have my granddaughter with me. And for her to laugh about my situation like that angered me. That same day, I was asked by this guy I'd been seeing to accompany him. And I was hesitant, but I didn't want to miss the chance. He's a really nice guy. I haven't been on a date for almost 6 years, and it wouldn't hurt to give my daughter a taste of motherhood when she least expected it. I told my daughter that I got asked out for the same day, and she was happy at first, but then asked if I was going to take her daughter with me, and I said obviously not, and she'll have to cancel plans for a day. I didn't expect her reaction to be so extreme. She cried, screamed, and told me I was being selfish, and that I was letting her miss her date just because I thought some guy was interested in me. The argument didn't end very well. I stood my ground and went to that date, and she had to cancel plans. But she's still really mad about it and has been ignoring me. I love my daughter and wouldn't want her to miss anything, but I wanted her to learn a lesson and be responsible. My sister agreed with me, but my friend told me I should have done it on any other day. Does my approach make me an idiot? Not the idiot. Your daughter is an entitled, supersized idiot. You've created a monster who has zero respect for you. You should quit being the mother to her baby. I cannot refer to it as babysitting because I suspect that you've been more of a mother to this baby than she has. She chose to have this baby and she needs to raise it. If she doesn't, get ready to be a grandma again within 1 to 2 years max. Why should she try to prevent getting pregnant again when you're the one facing all the real lasting consequences of having the baby? Yeah, that drove me nuts. I hope from now on, OP prioritizes her own life and happiness more. Her daughter has a responsibility to learn how to be a mother to her child, not expect others to put their lives on hold to play babysitter all the time and then say they have no life. OP, your kid needs tough love. You need to stop canceling your plans and let her deal with her own child. What got me was, I, 36 female, have a daughter, Leah, 18, followed by, her pregnancy was very shocking news. So a mother who had her kid at 18 is very shocked her daughter got pregnant and had a child at 18? Honestly, I hate them both. She refers to the baby as it. She's flippantly talking about motherhood. You both just needed to be adults for once and screamed and cried about who deserved a date. How about this? Neither of you. You're horrible people and need to realize what's important. Everyone's the idiot here. You created this situation. You told your daughter she'd be responsible for her baby and immediately backtracked so your daughter wouldn't miss out on her childhood. All the while thinking you looked like a hero mom to your daughter, and she's been mocking you the whole time. As a result, your daughter's ungrateful and doesn't appreciate all you've done for her. I'm a man in my early 20s. This Wednesday, a new roommate moved in. She's a woman in her 20s, a single mom to an adorable young daughter. I've never met this woman before she moved in. She was brought in by her landlord. We had a 10-minute convo Wednesday before I went to work. I worked the night shift. Yesterday, she woke me up at 7 a.m. I got home at 3. She told me that she had to go to work, but that her daughter was in bed and asked if I would keep an eye on her. I was so sleep deprived that she had already left by the time I was about to say no. Am I crazy? Or is it very dangerous to leave a kindergartner girl with a strange man? I'm a good person, but she didn't know that. I don't even think I'd be able to leave a kid with someone I knew for weeks, let alone minutes. Her kid is well taken care of. She's happy. They cuddled after her mom got home from work. She read her a story, played with her, and all. And that's why I'm hesitating. Oh, and she did apologize for dumping her on me. Apparently, she wasn't even supposed to go to work, but there was an emergency. So, am I the idiot if I called CPS on her? I have no problem with watching her kid. I actually love children. My issue is her mom not knowing me, not with me watching the kid. Everyone's the idiot here. Don't bring CPS into it over one incident. Set your boundary that I'm not comfortable watching your child again and see how it progresses. If you report her straight up, You might end up with a very tense living arrangement. You may be a stranger, but she did leave the kid in the house with an adult, which I suppose is better than her being alone. She's still an idiot, though. I personally wouldn't call CPS, but who leaves their child with a stranger? OP, you're not the idiot for considering it, but the mother is the idiot for dumping her child on someone without talking to them first and leaving her child with a stranger. I know a few parents who leave their kids with people they know without asking first, and I find that a problem, but this lady takes it to another level. It's crazy he's more concerned about the child than she is. She doesn't know anything about him. OP, you've barely seen this woman for 10 minutes. She and her kid are strangers. You don't even have her number, I'm guessing. You don't know the kid. The kid doesn't know you. You know nothing about school, allergies, or medical issues. If this happens again, contact the landlord. Tell him the woman and her kid are not a good fit in the house, and have them call the woman and call the cops. You should have a record of this, in case anything happens, to cover your butt. How long did she leave her with you? Do you have any way to contact her? Nope. Honestly, I couldn't even remember her name. That was how brief our convo was. She left her with me until around 6 p.m. This is insane. She was gone for 12 hours and you didn't know her name? Yeah, no, that's abandonment. She's gonna pull this crap with every roommate. Contact your landlord, make the report, and make it clear that you will not babysit again. If she does leave the kid again, call the cops. You'll need official evidence. That's completely unacceptable. What if you had to work? Why didn't you get her contact info immediately from the landlord for her name, number, and work to contact her directly? You need to make it absolutely clear that this cannot happen again. And if it does, you'll drop the child off at the police station on your way to wherever you had planned to go that day. You can tell her you had a pleasant time with the child and may be willing on occasion to sit with her for an hour with prior permission, but you're not childcare. Lay down the expectation now, because it'll get worse now that you got away with it once. I have 4 kids from prior relationships, and my wife has 1. She has full custody of her son, but I have 2 of my kids here full time and weekends for the other 2. My wife gave birth on Wednesday and came home from the hospital on Thursday, so the kids and I have been doing our best to keep the house as quiet and relaxing for her as possible. On Friday, she asked me not to pick my youngest kids up because she feels the house is already unbearable with 3 kids, and 5 is too much. I told her she knew that wasn't possible. That's not how custody arrangements work. Besides, how would that make my kids feel? She said she just gave birth, so her feelings are important. I said I'm not flaking on my kids, so we need to figure something else out. Friday, when it was time for me to pick up all the kids, my wife was napping. I didn't want to potentially wake her, so I told my oldest, he's 19, to hold the baby until I got back. When I returned with all the kids, my oldest and my wife were screaming at each other. The best I can tell is that she woke up and went looking for me, and my son told her where I went, and she called me a thoughtless idiot. My son called her a hateful witch, and then they started screaming at each other. I got the kids to all go outside for a bit while I talked to my wife. She said I was an unbelievably selfish idiot that couldn't even give her a break for one weekend. She said none of this would have happened if I hadn't insisted on picking up my younger kids. She said she wanted my oldest to leave, but I said that wasn't an option. She locked herself in our room. I get that childbirth is more challenging than I'll ever know, and she's exhausted, but I don't feel like what she asked for is something I can give. Was I an idiot for insisting on getting my kids? Not the idiot. I understand that she just gave birth and is exhausted and overwhelmed, but she doesn't get to pick and choose when you're a father to any of your children, and particularly not so you can prioritize her as an adult. You were correct that this is not how custody agreements work, but more importantly, that's not how parenting works. You are the idiot, as is your partner, for not making plans in advance of giving birth to provide an atmosphere as relaxing and most conducive to recovering during a traumatic and exhausting period. I think you should have had all your other kids at alternative arrangements, if possible, for a week or so while you settled in, got into a routine, and your wife recovered. The time to do that was about 3 to 6 months before giving birth. Let the other kids know why and plan for the time they'll all get to meet their new sibling. Frankly, I understand your partner to a point. I can't think of anything worse than having a house that crowded when I'm trying to recover and settle into the newborn routine. I'm astonished that this didn't occur to either of you prior to literally a day or so before the kids were due home. This will be a problem because you just had a sixth child with a woman who genuinely believes that it's okay to shove your other young children out the door for her personal comfort. OP will be expecting baby number 7 with this woman, number 4, soon enough. It's been 2 days, and they're already on different pages. This is a mess. OP's an idiot for not having this all figured out long before the baby was conceived, or at least during the 9 months leading up to the birth. Dude, stop having kids. My ex likes to tell me what I should and shouldn't do on my custody days, and I generally ignore her because there is a reason we divorced. She has a list of food she doesn't want our daughter to eat, and I ignore her list. I drop our daughter off at school Monday mornings, and her mother picks her up. She called me yesterday to say she was cleaning our daughter's lunchbox and found onion slivers and asked if any of the lunch I packed had onions. I said, yes, it did. She said that the onions were on her list. I said, I didn't care. She said onions make our daughter smell bad when she sweats, and kids will bully her. I said that our daughter showers at my house, and she might also try that at her house. She called me a spiteful idiot and told me no more onions. Our daughter likes onions, so I'm going to ignore her. A part of me does wonder if I was petty, though. It makes me angry when she tells me what to do, so maybe that's clouding my judgment. Am I the idiot? Edit. She's allergic to strawberries, but I don't feed her strawberries because she's allergic to them, not because they're on the list. Not the idiot. X would have known if the onions caused her to smell bad without finding the slivers. This woman's going to create massive food issues with your kid. Keep doing what you're doing, and just be better at hiding it from her. Your daughter deserves so much more than what her mother's giving her. How far does it go? She's too fat, so kids might bully her? So let's stop feeding her? She's got hair on her arms and people might bully her, so let's shave her. This woman's a monster. I was waiting for the allergy thing, and it was about smelling bad. She's a tween that likes onions. That's freaking awesome. Most kids are picky or plain eaters. While it is true that onions and garlic can make you smell, you need to eat quite a bit for it to take effect. Absolutely ridiculous. Ignore the mother. Heck, I might even take her to court to get her less time. She clearly has mental issues and needs a therapist. My father is a loser. When he got my mother pregnant, he wanted her to quit her job and stay home to be a good little wife and mother. He's very well off due to a trust fund, and he doesn't need to work. My mother refused and divorced him. Because of a prenup, she got very little, and he moved back to Europe. His parents never knew about me, and my mother had a good profession, and I never really wanted for anything. My grandmother and grandfather, her mom and dad, were fantastic, and I spent my summers exploring the wilds of Western Canada with them. My father never paid the child support he should have. As I said, it didn't really matter. My mom makes good money, and she gave me a great life as a child. So the point of this post, I'm female 28, getting married. I met the love of my life, male 31, at university, and we've been together for 8 years. He is a wonderful person, and he really is my lobster. His family's from the same city as my father, and they're a huge raucous bunch. Because of many intermingled business and personal relationships, my parental grandparents found out about my impending wedding and me, I suppose. They have been in contact and want to come to Canada to meet me and my fiancé, who I guess is a grandson of an acquaintance of theirs. Small world. When they found out that my father had abandoned me to fend for myself in this world, this is honestly how they saw it. They were angry. It's amusing because we are decidedly upper middle class here. So, long story short, they had their lawyer calculate the amount of child support my father should have paid with interest and the cost of my post-secondary education. They then gave me this as a gift. I didn't know that it came from my father's yearly draw on his trust fund. He's furious because it's a sizable amount, and it will affect his finances for at least the next 2 years. After that, he may need to, gasp, get a job. He has been contacting me and telling me that his current wife and children will be negatively affected if I don't give him back this money. I don't need it, and I guess I am entitled to it, and I am getting a trust fund now as well. But I want to pay off any debt my mother may have and make sure that when she retires, she can do whatever suits her fancy. So I'm not giving it back. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your father's paying for the consequences of his actions. If it affects his current wife and children, he can explain why to them. He should have been paying child support all along. Better late than never. Besides, the money is being given to you as a gift by your grandparents. The fact that the money came from the money they would have normally given to him is not your problem. Call it karma. It's your money. Yes, it was a gift. Your grandparents controlled the trust and obviously took issue with the secret abandoned baby. Your father forgot the most important part of being a trust fund adult. Don't make the people in charge of the trust angry. That's hilarious. Enjoy. This is money you would have been entitled to if your father had an ounce of decency. It's not your fault he might have to work or sell an asset. The fact a grown man doesn't have alternate income streams is his problem. He could have saved some of his trust fund benefits, or invested them, or bought property with it to help his current family and children. What I'm hearing is that an overgrown trust fund baby is mad his actions have consequences, and he'll now have to work like the rest of us peasants. It's fortunate you turned out all right, but too many deadbeats let their kids struggle in poverty and act like the kids' upkeep is none of their concern. Your paternal grandparents sound great and deserve a relationship with you for their attitude. It looks like they would have been in your life even if your father wasn't. Hopefully you can make up for lost time and forge a nice bond. I, 36 male, have 3 children, a tween male, a young teen male, and a teen female. I spend most of my time fishing and going on trips with my boys and their friends. Sometimes we even go camping. They sometimes even sit around my friends and me at the campfire. We spend a lot of time together bonding as father and sons, but my daughter does not. I take my boys to clubs like coding, American football, and basketball. I asked my daughter if she would like to go to any clubs, but she declined, and I said fine by me. My daughter asked me to do things like practice makeup, fashion, etc. I have no interest. Instead, I like things like football, fishing, and building things. I frequently visit Home Depot with my boys because we're constantly working on projects, like how we're working on building a cabin. My daughter comes around, asking me to go shopping with her, which I find unimaginably boring, so I pass on the offer. My boys hate going shopping with their mother and sister, but love what I do with them, so whenever their mother's not forcing them to come, we always have fun. I've asked my daughter multiple times to come, but she's refused. For the last few weeks, she's been asking me to spend time with her, but she never does anything that interests me. All she does with me is show me new clothes, talk about TV shows, and typical teenage girl stuff. I'm not interested in things like getting my hair done, so I don't spend time with her often. Last week she came to me and I refused. I think this was the last straw in her book because she was furious. She started calling me out, saying how I never spend time with her and that I love her brothers more than I care about her, which is not true. I reassured her that I loved her and her brothers equally, but she didn't listen. She asked me to try doing things she likes for a change, but I explained to her how I'm not interested. My wife has also called me out on this. When I told my friends, they told me it was just a phase, and their daughters have done the same. This calmed me down, but my daughter will not speak to me. I feel really bad. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, you have to be kidding. Stop acting like the youngest one in the house and go shopping with your daughter if you want her to stay in your life when she's 18. 'Cause from here, you do love her brothers more because you only spend time with them and never do anything with her because it's boring. If you really loved your daughter, you would care more about spending time with her than you would about it being boring. Everything I do with my kids has to be all about me and what I like to do. And if my kid has different interests, they're useless to me, and I won't spend any time with them. I have other kids whose shared interests can reflect my self-perceived glory back to me. and I'm all that matters. Yes, bruh, no question, you are the idiot. Your daughter shouldn't have to think of activities that entertain you for you to want to get to know her. She is not the parent. That she wants to spend time with you is a blessing that you're squandering. You will not always have this opportunity. But again, she's your child. You are ostensibly the adult. Take her to a movie, coffee, or a dinner. There's so many things to do. And I assume you did and do something with your wife that you weren't buzzed about. But you love her, and that's why you do it. You're showing your daughter that you don't love her as you do nothing with her. It's only a short time and she'll be gone. Forever. My teen female. Mom died when I was 2. My dad remarried when I was 7. My stepmom has always wanted to be my mom, but she's not. I don't hate her, but she's just not my mom. Nobody can replace my mom. This summer, I went to Ireland with my maternal grandparents to visit my grandpa's family. While there, my grandpa and his brother told some childhood stories. Pretty much your classic grandparent stories about how they walked 10 miles to school, uphill both ways. They were also talking about how they used to cut turf to burn. They made it sound like cutting turf was the worst, most difficult task known to man. And I said that they were probably exaggerating about how hard it was. My grandpa then asked my cousin to show me how to do it, so I could see just how easy it was. I spent the rest of the day cutting chunks out of a bog, while my cousin watched and did absolutely nothing to help. Idiot. I won't go into details, but Grandpa wasn't exaggerating, and I definitely will not make fun of him again anytime soon. My cousin decided to take pictures. As I said, bastard. He sends me those pictures now and then to bug me. Yesterday, my stepmom saw the pictures on my phone and asked me about them. I explained to her, and she said that I should have told her before and that my grandparents were abusing me. I laughed and said it wasn't that bad, and it definitely wasn't abuse. She said that as my mom, she didn't think I should be spending so much time with them. For context, she's never liked my grandparents and has always tried to stop me from spending a lot of time with them. I said that she was not my mom. She was my dad's wife and had no right to control my life. Then she started crying and said she's tried to love me like a mother, but I've always rejected her and hated her. I don't hate her, but she's just not my mom. This was 2 days ago, and she still isn't talking to me any more than the bare minimum. My dad thinks I shouldn't be so rude to her, and he said I should apologize. I don't think I should apologize. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You don't view her as your mom, and she needs to get over it and stop pushing. Suggest the possibility of therapy for your stepmother. She's jealous of your other family, overreacting to situations, giving you the silent treatment, and expecting an apology when she's in the wrong. Everyone's the idiot here. I do think you should talk with your dad, though, and explain how you're feeling. You don't have to see her as a mom, but I do think you should look at external pressure stepmoms face when it comes to their role in the household. If anything, just to get a different perspective. Rejection hurts, even when you're an adult. There are kind ways to say, I appreciate the effort you've put into making my life at home good, but set a clear boundary that you just aren't comfortable seeing her as a mom. Do you know why your dad's wife is so angry? You bonded with your mom's family over an experience your stepmom hasn't had. You're definitely not in the wrong, and I wish your stepmom could see how much easier she'd make this for herself if she responded to those photos by being proud of you for learning a difficult new skill and for having a nice memory to share with your elders. I, 21 female, live in an apartment with my younger brother, 18, as we go to the same college, and it makes things easier for our parents and us. For context, my parents are paying for our college and apartment as long as we go to school and work for our own groceries. My brother always had a bit of an ego and loved feeling like he was superior to others, and it was no different when we moved. He took pride in being an adult and the man of the house, and immediately started demanding things be a certain way. I initially ignored him, thinking he would chill out when school started, but it's only worsened. Recently, my brother's been complaining about being sick and treating me like a maid. On top of classes and working most of the week, I'm expected to do all of the cooking, cleaning, shopping with my money, drive him around when he needs, and take care of the dog. He's also very particular about things and has a habit of throwing a tantrum if something isn't done or done his way. All the while, he spends every day on his computer, video chatting with his girlfriend. What makes things worse is he's still acting like he's the one taking care of everything and working all the time while I'm the lazy one. He doesn't work, go to school, or do anything around the house because he's in too much pain. I finally decided I had enough and started only prioritizing myself. I only cleaned my room, did my dishes, took only my trash out, etc. I went as far as to leave a note on his door saying that I was tired and not cleaning up after him, and that if he was in that much pain, he needed to go to the doctor. If he ever saw that note, he ignored it, as his messes quickly began to pile up in the apartment, to the point where my room was the only space free of clutter. Things escalated as my parents decided to stop by for a surprise visit this past weekend. Unfortunately, my brother had been asleep when they arrived, so he had no chance of cleaning his mess or covering for himself. I told them that the whole mess was his, and I would have cleaned up, but I had been busy the whole week with class, and he had been home, so I figured he would have done it at some point. My parents didn't appreciate this and confronted my brother the second he woke up. He tried blaming me at first, but his excuses slipped through, and they quickly found out he had been lying to them about everything, including going to school and work. They were furious with him and told him he needed to start pulling his own weight and acting like a responsible adult, or they would cut him off financially and force him to come home. My brother briefly apologized and started doing more housework, but is highly passive-aggressive. He's also saying I'm cruel for almost ruining his chances at being independent. I didn't mean to get him in trouble, but I was tired of being treated like a maid. Am I the idiot? Adult? Man of the house? Independent? Oh, that's a good one. Independent while his sister cleans up after him and takes care of everything and his parents pay the bills? Oh, I needed that laugh. Thank your brother for me. Oh my. What independence? Oh, P, you were doing everything. He was on holiday with a maid. Please don't do a single thing for him, OP. Don't let him guilt you. And anytime he complains, just tell him you don't want him to stop being independent. He is perfectly fine, bleeding you dry financially and emotionally. This dude has never been independent a day in his life. You didn't embarrass him or get him into trouble. He did that to himself by being lazy, selfish, and domineering. Honestly, if I were your parents, I would do a surprise visit in a few days. And if he isn't pulling his weight, yank his funding. Then let him live at home with chores and rules and work at McDonald's for a year or two and pay nominal rent. Or he can find his own house, pay his way, and demonstrate how independent he is. I'm a 25-year-old Black woman, and my brother, who's 30, is getting married in February 2023. My future sister-in-law has asked me to be one of her bridesmaids, and I said yes, flattered she'd ask. We were recently trying on dresses to get an idea of what the bridesmaids would be wearing, and she fell in love with a fairly cute dress in aubergine. The issue here is that I'm the only bridesmaid who isn't white. What suits their skin tone doesn't suit me. They all look stunning in this dress, me not so much. I'm not saying Black women can't wear aubergine either. It looks amazing on some people. I'm just sadly not one of them. I saw the same dress came in some lighter colors, so I asked if we could try on a lighter shade of purple, and this one was far better on me. It was only a few shades lighter but made a huge difference. I asked if we could go for this instead, but the bride said that the color would wash out the other bridesmaids a little. I understood that, so I suggested they wear the other dress and I could wear this one, but my future sister-in-law wasn't having this, as she wanted us to match. I didn't push, and resigned myself to looking ugly on the day as it was her wedding, right? But my brother called me that night, asking me why I changed the shade of the dress in the first place, and how it had apparently upset my future sister-in-law that I'd done that. Now, I'd let it go and not push the issue, so I didn't see what the big deal was, but apparently when she got home, she'd blown it out of proportion to him. My brother seems to think I had no right to even imply I'd prefer a different shade of dress than what she picked out, and even if I'd accepted her choice, it was too late as I'd already upset her. I'm shocked by this. Is it that wrong that I'd suggest that she let me wear a different shade of the dress? Sorry, you are the idiot. I'm in the same situation you are. But I realize this has absolutely nothing to do with how I look in something. It's about the bride getting a particular aesthetic for her wedding. Ugly bridesmaids' dresses are a common trope, and people just suffer through it. It's one day and you never have to wear the dress again. In general, asking people to change anything about their wedding is not okay. Nope, not the idiot at all. You asked politely if it would be possible to change to a different shade of dress. And when rejected, you accepted it without pushing. I think sister-in-law was the idiot because she made it seem like no big deal to you, but exaggerated, blew it out of proportion, and made you look bad to your brother. It's perfectly fine for you to make a suggestion that would be more complimentary to your skin tone. You didn't press her and dropped it when she said no. Making a suggestion is acceptable. Is she showing bridezilla tendencies? This seems like a red flag on her, and I worry that she'll have further issues the closer it gets to the wedding. She's a drama queen. Tell her to find another bridesmaid if she goes off the rocker and makes more drama out of a simple question.